This week on Barely Homesteading, fencing off our garden area. So contrary to how it looks today, we've actually had some pretty nice weather recently. It's been in the mid-50s, been sunny, and a lot of the snow's melted. So we're gonna try to get out here and start putting in the fence for our garden area. Now, we've already done some rough leveling with the skid steer, pulled out a lot of the brush and other vegetation that was growing here. We're still gonna have more to do with that. But we want to get the fence in while the ground is still somewhat frozen, because once it melts, it's going to be a mud pit and we're going to have to wait another month before we can work on it. So if we can get the fence posts in now, it's going to save us a lot of time and give us a much better head start on the garden later. So we've already marked off the area that we're going to fence off this year. It is not the entire garden that we plan to put in the future. But this is what we could get ready for right now. It's going to be about a 32 by 64 area. So the entire area is smaller than what we had in Colorado, but we're not going to be doing raised beds here, at least not immediately. So we're going to be able to cram a lot more into that space. This is one corner, so we're going to start here. We've already got our posts. These are 4x4 pressure treated 10-foot long posts. We're going to put them 2 feet into the ground, and just like we did in Colorado, we're going to brace them along the top to give them a lot of stability. We have already tarred, or it's actually an asphalt emulsion, the bottom 30 inches of the post. This is going to protect the bottom of the post that's in the ground and keep it from rotting as fast. And we've gone 6 inches above the ground level, so that as the ground moves and snow comes and water is sitting there at the top of the post, it's also going to protect that. All right, so with the corner post in, we're going to go to the next corner, get that post in, so that we can get all the posts in between, in the line between those two corners. So while we were putting posts in, we got to this post and we hit a little rock. Actually, it's a giant boulder right where the post needs to be. So we're gonna see if we can get this out of the hole so that we can put the post where it's supposed to be and then use the rock somewhere else.
We are trying to wrap a strap around the tip of this rock and see if we can get enough leverage on the skid steer to just tip it up. There, it is resting right on another rock, so we can't get the strap very far under the lip. see if we can shift it just a little before the strap comes off. Spinning out a little and not getting much traction. We may not even be able to lift this thing. It's so big. Alright, so our last attempt, the strap slipped off the chain. It didn't break, fortunately, so we're trying to attach it a different way. And I want to explain something before we get going. Some of you may be watching and think, why don't you just try raising the arm rather than backing up? Unfortunately, we've got a jam somewhere and we can no longer raise the shovel. We are looking for some sort of repair place to help us. Unfortunately, we cannot find anywhere in this area that services Thomas skid steers. So we're still looking. If anybody knows of anywhere in the northeast side of Washington that services Thomas skid steers, let us know.
Guess is it didn't move at all.
So we decided to dig around the edges a little, see if we could loosen it up a little. Out, baby, out, baby, out! It's a big beast. It may weigh more than our skid steer. You okay?
That's would have been bad.
Yeah, that recoil. We better not put that on the film. Although we did promise them lots of misadventure.
I did see it moving though.
Yeah, it was rocking again, but if you just pull steady on it, it doesn't do much. I don't know. I think it might be easier to move the fence and not have a straight fence.
So this boulder proved to be too much for us right now. With our skid steer not working properly, and we've tried a few different things. We got to be able to get the garden in on time. So we're just going to leave this in the ground for now. What we've decided to do is come and do a jet out around it so that we can get the garden fenced in. And then next fall, hopefully after we get the skid steer fixed and we've got the harvest in, we're going to come back and see if we can get this boulder removed so that it's not in our way. So in this corner of the garden, we have a fairly steep slope that rolls off right in this corner. And if we leave it like this, we're going to get a lot of erosion. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in a rock wall and backfill it to level it out, and we want to do that before we put the fence post in so that we get the fence post at the right height. All right, so we're still digging fence post holes, and as we're doing that, we're hitting fairly large rocks. Some of them we've been able to get out by hand, some are larger, and we need the skid steer to pull them out. So if you come in here close, what I've done is I've taken a strap and wrapped it around to form a cradle so that this rock will just pull right out. All right, so after pulling that rock out, we're almost deep enough for this post. So that's all there really is to it until, of course, you hit the next rock. All right, so we've been working on this garden fence for about 2 months now. We're making progress, it's just been really slow. We've pulled some really big rocks out recently, and so we're now ready to set a bunch of posts and get the braces on the top. So we're gonna work on that tonight. So we're putting stabilizers, braces on the top of the posts after we get the posts in. These are just 2x4s that we're attaching to the top, kind of splitting the difference between the top of the 4x4 and putting half of the 4x4 covered by each of the braces. We're going to be putting some more braces in addition to these later, but this is the start of where we can now attach fencing to the top of the posts. All right, so our last hole that needs a post in it is another massive rock with a massive rock behind it and a massive rock next to it. Now the post needs to go right here, not in the middle of the rock. And so what we're going to try to do is something called microblasting to just break off this end of the rock so that we can put the post here. Now microblasting is very dangerous. It's actually illegal in some locales. So I'm not going to teach you how to do this. I'm not going to demonstrate. I'm not going to even show you because of the danger and the legal issues and the liability issues. So we'll show you the aftermath, but I'm not going to show you how to do this. So the microblasting didn't work. Turned out we had a dud charge, but we didn't know that. Could have had something else go wrong. And so we had to chip out the rock by hand until we got down to the charge, because we didn't want it accidentally going off if it wasn't a dud and have somebody get hurt. All right, so after 2 days of working on this with the sledge and the chisel and the air hammer, we've got it deep enough to put the post in. It's not perfect, it's not exactly where I want it, but it's gonna be good enough. And I'm just tired. This thing's been a beast. All right, so we got all the posts in. We got the first upper supports in. Still need to put in the rest of the upper supports to get this nice and sturdy. Then we can start putting the fencing up.